Hello, good morning, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from whichever location you are watching this video. I am back again. Okay, and if you remember that in the previous videos, we have discussed all the concepts and the theoretical part of the AWS Lambda. We discussed each and every terms and the keywords that we will come across while doing programming with Lambda. Okay, and so today we are going to discuss about the AWS Lambda console overview. Okay, we will understand each and every points, each and every features. Okay, and after that, in the coming videos, we will jump into the uh, basic AWS Lambda examples. Okay, so in order to log into the AWS Lambda console, we can go at this URL aws.amazon.com/console and we can sign in here. Okay, and let me sign in with my ID. You can create free AWS account. Okay, there's a straightforward process of creating AWS account. I'll make another video like how to create AWS free account. Okay, and you can create one for yourself and you can try all these activities. Okay, so I have enabled my multi-factor authentication. Let me enter my MFA code here. Something went wrong. Let me try again. 1 minute. I think. ID. Yeah. So we have logged in here in AWS console. Okay. And at the top of this section, you can see that frequently used services that you might have used recently visited services that are listed here. But you can go because previously I have used AWS Lambda. I was working on that, so that AWS Lambda is also listed here. But you can search Lambda from this search text bar itself. Just type Lambda and click on the Lambda service. It will take you to the Lambda screen. And see, here is the create a new function. We can create a new function here. Okay, add some here it is some demo code have been written here that we can test. Okay, so if you run this, you will get the output right away. And so it is just a demonstration. So let me just jump into the actual Lambda function screen. I clicked on create a function. Okay, so this is the create a function page screen on the AWS Lambda. So first of all, we will get some the basic template, like do we want to create a function from right from the scratch, a fresh brand new function, or we can use an existing blueprint itself. Like blueprint means it gives us multiple templates on the different runtime, like create a microservice that interacts with a DB, DynamoDB table. Okay, You can develop a service that is that will communicate to the DynamoDB table. Okay, so that is the template it is given. It's in Node.js runtime. Create a microservices that interacts with a DDB table. It's again that is written in Python. The same work item. Create a mobile backend that interacts with DynamoDB table. You can create a mobile backend service in the Lambda that will connect to the DynamoDB database. Get S3 object with the AWS Lambda. You can read the objects or file from S3. Okay, get S3 object that is written in Node.js, Python. All these are the blueprints are simple function, Lambda function that is already been written. Okay, you can use them and you can edit that as per your requirement, as per your modify. You can actually modify them as per the requirement. Okay, so these are the some already predefined blueprints of the AWS Lambda. Okay, and there are some container images. If we are just willing to develop AWS Lambda and that we will to deploy on the Docker. So we can develop the containerized image also of AWS Lambda. Also. Okay, so we are not going to discuss these things. We will see the blueprint also later, but we will first cover up the developing AWS Lambda right from the scratch. Okay, so from the next video we will start creating the sample function. So in this video I'll just explain the components of AWS Lambda functions. Okay, so here we can specify the function name, enter a name that describes the purpose of your function. Function name must be 1 to 64 characters, right? So whatever function name you will give, you can type here. It should be below 65 characters, must be unique to the region. See, AWS Lambda function is identified globally in AWS environment. So whatever function name you will give, that should be unique and it will just cross verify itself. Okay, if somebody else have given that the name you are specifying, it will alert you. Okay, so that will be that is unique. It should be unique itself. Okay, so then and there are other things also like valid characters are allowed characters in AWS Lambda. You can use the capital letters, small letters, 0 to 9 numerics and hyphens and underscores. Okay, all these characters you can use in function naming. Like we can say like fn read object like this. Fn process emails. Okay, so this kind of function naming we can use. Then we have to select the runtime, like in what language you prefer to code the AWS Lambda. Like you can prefer to code in .NET, Java, Node.js, Python, Ruby. Okay. Other supported runtimes are there like Python, different versions of Node.js is also supported, Java 11, 7. Okay. So preferred language runtime we can select here, and architecture, like the what should be the system core architecture. It's ARM64 x64. That is that's by default it's 64 itself. Okay, and here we have to specify execution role. Okay, so AWS Lambda, we have to provide a basic execution role to AWS Lambda. So that is for the purpose of allowing AWS Lambda to interact with the AWS services or the environment. Okay, so we have to assign a basic role. Okay, we can create a new one or you can use existing one. So I think I already have created AWS Lambda execution role. So we can select here, or you can create a new role here also here. Create a new role with basic Lambda permissions. Okay. So in coming videos, you will see like whenever you creating a new Lambda function, you must need to create a Lambda execution role. And there are some certain permissions also that we would require to give. Okay. So that we will see in the upcoming videos. Okay. And there are some additional configurations also like enable function URL, enable tags, enable VPC, So all these are the some additional advanced configurations that we will see one by one in coming videos itself. Okay. So let me just move ahead. Let me create a function. Hello world. Let me choose Python. Okay, and let me choose an existing role as for now. Okay, and see all these points we will see later. Okay, so first I selected author from a scratch. Function name I have given. Runtime I have selected. The architecture will be 64. Existing AWS Lambda console role I have selected here, and create function. Click. Okay. So it is the function like fn hello world. It's created. Okay. It is a basic sample code it has given here. Okay. So see, this script is written in Python. Okay, and it's the handle lambda handler, that is the event and the context. Okay, so event is the input, like whatever input we have, we will pass either to the function. If we have to pass any input data, so that will become come within the event object and the context of the lambda. Okay, so this is the basic code. Further, we can modify and edit this code here. Okay, and let us understand these tabs, like it's code block. If you click on test, you can test this function here. Like if you create on test, see the code has been executed and this output is here, like hello from lambda. Okay, it took 1 second to execute. The function version is latest, duration 1.90 second, execution time 11 seconds ago. Okay, 1.97 milliseconds took. Resource is configured resource, like this function. The memory I have is allocated to, that is 128 MB megabyte. Okay, and its build duration 2 milliseconds. Memory, max memory used 30 MB. Okay, and it is some logging information about the execution, like whenever we execute the lambda function, it automatically assigns a request ID. Okay, and at start and end logging of this of the request. Okay, so this is an environment given from AWS Lambda to test the function whatever we have created. Okay, there's a monitoring section also where we can monitor, like there is there you can see there is one invocation of the function, because just I have created a function and executed that only once. So there's how many execution have already taken place for this function, that will be displayed here. Its duration chart, like how much duration the functions are taking. If there is any error, you can watch the errors here. Okay, throttles, I will explain you the throttles functionality later on. And other properties are the total concurrent executions, like how many executions are parallelly happening, concurrently happening. Okay, that we can see here. Recursive invocations, like if there is a recursive functions we have written. Okay, that function calling another function, something like that. So we can watch here the activities and other things also, like not going inside all those in depth, but so it is a complete the monitoring tab where you can monitor the activities of the function whatever we have created. Okay, there is some error also. Okay, so we will see what is this. And yeah, so this matrices you can filter on the timing basis, like last 1 hour, last 3 hours, last 12 hours, what is the status, last one day, and you can specify the custom duration also, right? Okay, and by default the time zone it is speaking, that is the UTC time zone. You can convert that the view into the local time zone also. So this is the monitoring tab. Configuration part, there are other properties of the Lambda function, like you can set the triggers, like the function what you have written here, what will be the source or the trigger event for the function, whether you want to execute it on some certain frequency, like every 15 minutes, every 10 minutes, or you want to trigger this one, want this function to be triggered based on some function URL or some other activity, like where if we have uploaded any object on S3, inserted any new records in DynamoDB tables, okay, then that you want this function to be triggered. So all those triggers we can set here. First, let us general configuration here. General configuration means like the default timeout of the function, like the execution timeout of the function is 0 minute 3 seconds itself. We can specify the maximum timeout of the AWS function, that is 15 minutes we can specify. Okay, if the utility or the code we have written that is going to take longer, so the maximum timeout we can specify in the timeout section here, right? Description we can specify. Allocated memory is by default 128 MB and 512 MB is the ephemeral storage. Timeout, it's we can increase the timeout here of the function if our code is let's say we have written some utility that the one time execution is taking more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes, then we can specify here. Okay, and the execution role that we have selected while defining this function. Okay, so this is the configuration tab. Okay, there are some aliases that you can create function alias also, like creating a new function with some new name, the same function with the new name, that is the function alias, and different versioning. Okay, by default the latest version is being chosen. Okay, so we will see each and every point, all these components in one by one in coming videos itself. Okay, some so trigger is there, we can add the trigger. Different kind of triggers are there, like connecting the AWS Lambda function from API gateway, uh, IoT events, CloudWatch logs, S3, okay, simple notification services, SQS, all this, any event is happening in these services like S3, SNS, SQS. We can connect our Lambda function to be triggered on the relative activities. Okay, so these are the triggers we can set. Okay, we will also revisit one by one of all this kind of triggers itself. We can specify the permissions, like what permissions we want to give our Lambda, like if our Lambda function is needed to use any EC3, or if it is needed to use on S3, okay, it need access on SQS, or so all those kind of permissions we can specify in the permissions tab. Destinations also, like if our Lambda function connecting any other AWS services as an output stream or the output mode, so we can specify the destination here. Okay, we will understand this point also. Function URL, if you want the function code to be triggered with any specific URL, that you can hit that URL in the browser, so we can define the function URL also here. Okay, environment variables we can specify here, like if there is some secrets or some uh, password kind of thing, password or some API keys, okay, that we have to define. So all those keys and password and secrets we can uh, define in the environment variables also. You can give the tags also to the function to identify across the resources. Okay, the VPC section. Okay, so all these are the advanced terms. Okay, so that is not the scope of this video as of now. We will see the basic things. Okay, and so that was the basic overview about the Lambda console. Okay, and in coming videos we will start right from the basic creating a basic Lambda function. Okay, and we will move one by one to the uh, advanced sections, okay, of the AWS Lambda. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you for now. Stay connected for upcoming videos. Thank you.